the difference of the wearing of face mask in the public as opposed to in the context of COVID-19.
Right. Thank you again, Sergeant Maguire, and a pleasant good morning to listeners for this program. As usual, it's always my pleasure to be here. It doesn't matter at what level. My main objective is to impart my knowledge to the public and educate as much as we can. I always say that an educated public is a well-informed public makes the police work easier. Persons would be guided accordingly and would not do things out of ignorance. You mentioned about the COVID-19 act, the importance of wearing face masks.
Right, in the public. We know that during the time of the COVID-19, when we were experiencing the pandemic, there was a requirement to wear masks, right. And that requirement has since repealed. And so, can you explain the reason why that prevention was amended,
okay,
and why now in relation to the Small Charges Act, Section 86 is requiring prohibiting the wearing of face
Thank
masks?
you. Well, we all know that during the pandemic, in the peak of the pandemic, the face mask was the single most non-pharmaceutical tool or prescription that really protected us and reduced our risk of contracting this virus, because it was an airborne respiratory virus. And so the medical advice was to cover your nose and mouth, and that should protect you. So legislation was passed that mandates the wearing of face masks while in public to prevent the spread of the disease. Now, when that legislation was passed, there was still in force legislation that prohibits the wearing of face masks or covering of your masking of one's face while in public. So the COVID-19 regulation sort of relaxed that provision under the Small Charges Act. It says, notwithstanding what the Small Charges Act says, a person while in public is required or was required to wear a face mask that covers their nose and mouth. Now, we have reached a point now where the risk of contracting the disease has considerably been reduced, and so there's very little risk of contraction or spread of the disease. And so the government, in its wisdom, repealed the act and removed all the restrictions that came with it. Now, with the repealing of that act, it means now that the Small Charges Act that prohibits the wearing of face masks continues, because the COVID-19 Act just relaxed that Small Charges Act while the COVID-19 Act was in effect. The COVID-19 Act is no longer in effect, has been repealed, and so persons now are required to wear not disguise themselves or mask their face when in public. Now, notwithstanding that, there is still that discretion. Persons are still advised to wear face masks as a means of still protecting yourself. If you have a cold, if you think that there is a risk of you spreading or contracting the disease, persons are still encouraged to wear a face mask. In fact, in health institutions, it is required that you wear a face mask. In the hospitals, the clinics, you are required to wear a face mask at these institutions.
Right.
Now, I want to distinguish the difference between wearing the face mask and disguising your face. And I think that is what the Small Charges Act seeks to prevent. Persons disguising themselves by covering their whole head and forehead and nose and eyes. A total disguise. That is what we frown upon, the act frown upon. But we would still encourage persons to exercise their discretion to wear a mask to prevent themselves from spreading or contracting any airborne virus.
Right. So in other words, in terms of the medical mask,
right,
for the purpose of
protecting
but
yourself.
protecting yourself
That is permitted.
right. It is permitted, but is the masking of one's face.
Masking.
And so you could
explain
expound further on that, what you mean by the masking of one face in terms of...
We see persons wearing ski masks. The ski mask is a sort of, it covers your head, comes right down to your neck, covers your, all that is left out is your eyes. You know, that small portion. And some persons will put on shades on that. So your eyes are now covered. So your entire head, your forehead, your face, your nose, your mouth, your eyes are covered. That is what we would consider masking. That totally disguises a person. If you are wearing a surgical mask, you're still recognizable. Someone who sees you would know that is not you, because all that is covered is your nose and mouth. And the rest of your face, your features is still exposed. But if you're completely disguised, you're masked completely from head to neck and everything in between, then that is, in my mind, a total disguise, a total masking of the face. Right. And the laphrons and that.
Right, and also it's important to add to that in the light of criminal activities, if one is found, and depends on at what time they are found with something like a mask of that type, can be constituted as an intention to commit crime or to perpetrate crime.
It's a reasonable assumption. If one is disguised to that extent, well, it is reasonable to conclude that he has some malintentions. You know, he has some criminal intent, or he's up to no good. Why would you want to be disguised if you're out in public? If you want to be disguised, then stay at home. Nobody will see you. But if you're out in public where you can be seen, then to hide your identity would suggest that you have some intentions that are no good, and we should be concerned for that.
Right. Now, quickly, Deputy, because I'm sure that persons, the listeners, might be thinking, well, what happened to Carnival where you see people in troops, the clowns and so on? Is there any distinction or any discretion in law in relation to that?
Yes, the Small Charges Act makes provision for persons to wear masks if you're part of a carnival troupe or involving some festivity related to carnival. In fact, there's a specific period for carnival. That period is declared by cabinet, and that is the period for carnival, and during that period, that is the only period when this provision is relaxed. And only if you're part of a carnival troupe or something that is connected with carnival, then that the provision is relaxed. So if during the carnival period you're found in Sandy Point, going into somebody's supermarket completely disguised, that you're not covered under those circumstances. But if you're in town in a clown suit or a carnival costume and your face is covered, then that is permitted under the rubric of carnival.
Right, and it's important that you said that, because I think Section 8 and Section 7 of the Small Charges Act clearly defined the occasions and it could for the benefit of the public, distinguish the wearing of face masks that is permitted during carnival time and what this section was trying to prohibit in relation to mask wearing.
Okay, yes, and it's not only carnival, it includes Culturama. This section speaks to Culturama, it says, except when participating in a national carnival, and this is section 5, subsection 5, except when participating in a national carnival or Culturama parade or other official festival or pageant, a person who without lawful excuse appears masked or otherwise disguised, or during a national carnival, Culturama parade, or other official festival or pageant, contravenes any regulation made under this section, commits an offence and shall be liable on summary conviction to a fine not exceeding $5,000. So it makes an exception for persons who are part of a national carnival parade or Culturama parade, except during those periods, then a person should not appear masked. And he went on in subsection 6 to say every person who being masked or otherwise disguised unlawfully assaults, beats or robs any other person or commits any other offense, commits an offense and shall be liable to an offense and summary conviction to a fine not exceeding $5,000 or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 2 years. Every person, subsection 7, every person who is found without lawful excuse, every person who without lawful excuse is found in possession of a mask in a public place commits an offense and liable and summary conviction to a fine not exceeding $5,000. So just the mere possession of the mask is an offense.
Right.
So if you not wearing it but you have it in your pocket, you don't have a lawful excuse for such, then you commit an offense.
Right. So we're about to take a break. Before we take a break, let me just crystallize now the distinction between the wearing of face mask for protecting oneself and as it relates of wearing a mask with criminal intention.
Yes.
Well,
as I mentioned before, if you are wearing the mask for the purpose of protecting yourself against disease, infection, then you should just be merely covering your nose and mouth, and it should be a traditional mask, either a surgical mask or a regular cloth mask that just covers your nose and mouth.
And discretion, that is understandable.
And depends on the time and your place, your location where you're wearing this, that would add to the suspicion. But if it's for health purposes, just your nose and mouth should be covered. Anything outside of that, any further disguising, where you cover your forehead, you cover your complete head, you cover your eyes with sunglasses, as anything of that nature, goggles or things of that nature, then now that moves from a mere protecting your health to disguising yourself, which would now indicate that you have some intentions that are not so good.
Right. Thank you very much. We will now take a break, GQ, and after when we come back, if there is any calls, we can also accommodate the calls.
Stop standing in long ATM lines to withdraw cash. Use your national debit or black cards to complete a wide variety of transactions at supermarkets, variety stores, gas stations, pharmacies, and more. Shop online at the most popular websites and stores for quality brands using your national debit or black cards. And take back your time to enjoy all the things that you love to do. Remember, instead of waiting in long ATM lines to withdraw cash, use your national bank cards today.
National Bank, always here.
Smart and Island Electronics massive New Year super deals from now until April 30th. Get massive savings and huge discounts on all items store-wide. Get super deals on smart TVs, washing machines, stoves, refrigerators, computers, cell phones, Bluetooth speakers, air conditioners, cell phone accessories, and much more at unbelievable prices at all 3 stores. Smart Electronics Pozzante, Island Electronics 4th Street, and Smart Electronics opposite Valley Mart in Charlestown, Memphis. There is no better deal than super deals. Come and take advantage from now until April 30th. Terms and conditions apply. See in store for details.
Thank you very much. We are back again, and so Deputy, while we wait for calls, we continue the discussion. Now, do you think businesses should require customers to remove their face covering for security purposes?
That is advisable. I could recall specifically, we were encouraging businesses to do that during COVID, when persons were mandated to wear masks. We had situations where persons were going into business places with their face covered, and they would walk out with goods without paying, and it was difficult to identify them. Even if you have cameras, you but it was difficult to identify the person because of their face coverings. And so we had advised persons who have security at their entrance to ask their customers who are excessively, whose faces were excessively covered, to just remove your mask so that at least the camera could capture you without the mask, and then you could put it back on. And so we would not discourage that. If a person comes into your business place and you think that they are disguised, as opposed to just wearing a face covering over your nose, and you feel uncomfortable about the level of covering of their face, it is not too much to ask them to temporarily remove.
It will also be a good point to encourage the general public, and if they are wearing the mask for health purposes,
Right.
and they have to go and conduct business, that they cooperate.
They cooperate with security at the business. And but like I say, we prefer if you not cover your face to the extent that other persons are uncomfortable with your presence. Because if a person feels uncomfortable with your presence because of the level of disguise or the level of covering, then it is too much. And we discourage that, and we ask persons to be wary of persons who are disguised to that extent. Either report it or ask them to remove the covering.
Right. We have a call. Hello, good morning.
Oh, yes. Good morning, everybody there.
Good morning.
Morning.
But most specifically, I want to congratulate my friend there, Henry.
Thank you,
I
sir.
had your elevation. I don't know if you know who's speaking.
The voice is familiar.
Yes, Sugar Factory.
Yes, Emmy.
Oh, now you're coming.
Yes, that's it. I know the voice.
Man, I mean, it's surprising. It is not surprising to me that you've been elevated. Because, I mean, I know you. And, I mean, I expected great things from you. One day when we meet up, we'll have a little rap.
Yes.
But I believe that our security people should know that some people would be wearing these masks we used during the COVID. They should know that some people suffer from different things. Okay, for instance, you might find Taiwanese around here, and maybe other Chinese would be walking with masks. You know, I don't have masks in my bag. So if I go to a crowded place, I can put on a mask.
Yes.
So, I think people by now should know what's happening. But you got some willful people. Even during the COVID, they see them take a shot, what we call marina shot, and cut it out to suit. So, they ain't only cover the whole head, but they got over their chest like them knights of the round table.
Yeah.
You can do that. But these people willful. So, but I think you as I say, you surprised me in your delivering. But only one thing, your volume ain't up good enough. I don't know if there's something wrong with the mic.
Okay, maybe
But-
you could adjust it.
Yeah, but I think you're doing a very, very good job, as I expect. Okay?
Thank
And
you.
you have a good day, and I hope you enjoy your office.
Thank you.
Right.
All right. Thank
Bye-bye.
you very much. Thank you very much for that call, Deputy.
Yes,
Anything you want to say?
well, like we said, we do not have an issue with persons who are wearing the face mask for their own protection against disease. Where we have the issue and where the law prohibits is the disguising of the face, the complete masking of one's face that is beyond a health measure.
Yeah.
To the extent that it is almost criminal. Well, it is criminal to disguise,
Yes. Mhm.
but it suggests that a person is up to no good because of the level of masking, the level of disguise that he's carrying, and person gets uncomfortable. Then that is what the law tries to prevent.
Yeah, we have another call, so we'll take the call quickly. We'll try to squeeze in the calls. Yeah.
Yes, caller, go ahead.
Yes, a pleasant morning to you, officers.
Morning.
Good morning, sir.
Great job. A little cool.
Tie your mask.
I like to know if I can publish, like, you see, like how the Chinese, them, when they catch somebody in the place, they publish them and Valumat, like the criminals, the thief and so. I think that should be a good idea to publish them too in Pan TV. Because you see them walking on you, you don't know who they be. So I think I should look into that too. Publish the face. So in your area and you see, well, bye. I see the man on TV now. You call you. That's how I believe the crime will cut down, because a lot of people who are you catch, they're back on the street and nobody know who they be. Between now, walking up and down. So if I do like the Chinese and Hasford, Valdemar, when you catch a man in your store and he thief, they got a picture, all up Nevis, they don't send it to all the Chinese them. So if they got Nevis, go try the same thing, they just look back at the camera and see you. So I think police should look into that. Thank you. Great program.
Okay, thank you too, sir.
Thank you.
We'll take this other call
Yes.
and then you will respond, Deputy.
Yes, we'll take the call.
Yes.
Hello?
Yeah, hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning. Well, then the matter about the mask. There's something I often look at, the motorbike guy with a big thing on his face. How do you cater for that?
Well, the law requires that a person wear a headgear when he's riding a motorcycle. But once he stops, once he parks the bike, then he should take off that headgear.
Yeah, but we were talking about somebody who can hit you under you can't see the face, you know. So the thing has on a dark visor. I often wonder how we cope with that, you know. But anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, as I said, the law requires that you cover your head when you're riding a motorcycle. Of course, we could understand why it is again for the protection of the rider or anyone who is on that motorcycle. Should there be an accident, should there be something go wrong, there is some protection for your head and your face. And so we cannot do anything about that. We know the consequence of that is that the person would be disguised if the helmet covers their face. But the law requires persons to wear headgear. But once you stop or park that bike, you should take it off.
Right.
You have another call?
Yes. We have another call.
We lost that call.
We lost the call.
And to the question of publishing the photos of persons who are caught stealing, that is something that we would not do unless until, of course, the person is convicted for a crime. We would not publish a person's picture like that just because they were caught stealing. The person would have to go through the justice system and be convicted before we can do something like that.
Right. And so as the caller earlier was raised the point about the helmet, what do you think about the persons who do the what they call them, who use the lawnmower?
Yeah.
I was looking for the word of the profession. Landscaping.
Yes. Well, we understand. We have a caller. Let's take the caller. Would the caller go ahead?
Yes, sir. Good morning, Commissioner Henry.
Good morning, sir.
And my good friend Dio.
Morning.
One of the good police. Henry.
Yes.
An old lady asked me to show to you all. Just like how you are thinking to put people pictures and the television for theft. What happened to the rape of them? And I want to let you know, Henry, tonight, this morning, please to liaise with the minister or the department of Kelly to light up the square. Very don't know, wait till somebody there to put it. And I have the patches light, but I abuse him and get him done it during the Christmas. Kishan was the minister, and they went and they put 2 big floodlights. People should be able to see who coming from. You should be able to stay where National Bank machine is and see me coming from Baker's Corner or coming from George Street. That's how I know it used to be. What I learned in the country? If men can handle the job, just move aside and let people do whatever they do to protect we. Another thing, Henry. I want to tell you, High Command, the old people is asking not to let this crime get out again in these communities. And you all should come in and ask in the community.
Okay.
We lost that call.
Yeah.
Sorry, jam down. But we take the point that lighting is important for safety. And we think that this square is too dark. We would seek to see how much we could get that situation in this square improved. We have another caller? Go ahead, caller.
Yes, good morning, everybody.
Good morning, sir.
This is Police Without Pay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, morning.
Yeah, okay. Good program. Now, I agree with caller who said that when people commit certain crime, the picture should be posted so that when the people in the community see them around, we could call the police and tell you, look, I have seen a child molester in the area. And in other countries I know, whenever they catch a child molester, rapist or whatsoever it is, and the law prosecute him and he come out of jail, the whole community know that a child molester is out of prison. So keep your eyes on him. Now, how is it when they go in the hills and they catch somebody in the ground with marijuana and they pull them up? They put the marijuana and the person picture on TV, and the marijuana ain't committing a crime, and the person ain't committing a crime, but a rapist and a thief. They hold him back their pictures. People need to know who they are, because a lot of them walking up and down the street here, murderers, walking up and down the street between people, and nobody knows them. So I agree with the caller. Anyway, good program. Continue. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, we don't have any more calls. I take the caller's point about publishing the photos of persons who commit crime. But as I say, we would not do that unless or until the person is convicted. So maybe that is something that we could give consideration to, and so that we make the identity of persons, especially certain crimes, known. But that's something that we would have to discuss and make a decision on. But we will not do that unless the person is convicted. We have a caller.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, Inspector, you drop out. Tell me compare me bill. Inspector, the public are aware that these matters have to go to the court. But these things could help the deterrent of the crime in the country. Put the picture and the news, let people see these people rapists. And so, you know, that could happen, but major one, like going in the house and doing serious abuse. But theft and raping, because this came forward in the country and we're going to tolerate these things. And I'm asking you, sir, for you and the high command to step up and let these young officers know when people call them for matters, don't tell them about the station. The station far from Harriston. The station far from your town. You and the senior police, there is a police just for yesterday, not today. Officer, let me get this thing right. We have a thriving tourist industry carrying this country. They don't threaten the CBI. What we going to do? Let me protect my own. Have a good day, sir.
Thank you, sir. No question.
Right.
No callers.
Right. So, in terms of we have one more call. Yeah.
Yes.
Hello. Good morning.
Hello. Yes. Good morning. Good program. But some of these bad boys always got a hoodie and the head and the hat thing. So you know, and they look so good, but you don't know how bad they be. So we need really security. Like the diamond security and all, them supposed to got some kind of thing when they're guarding and so, because they ain't got nothing. And the bad boy, them will bang them off. So we need to get, with proper security, we need to get here in St. Kitts. All the guarding supposed to got something in my button, something. Okay, take care. Good program.
Yes, and you made a very good point about the hoodies. The act speaks to being masked or otherwise disguised. So if you use the hoodie as a means to disguise your identity, then you'll be covered here, and the police can take action in those circumstances. So yes, the hoodies are included if it is part of your disguise.
Yeah.
You don't have any calls?
You know. Right. So I was asking you about the persons who do the landscaping, and they have to wear these things. I assume for protection from any flying object, and so on. So
well, that would be a reasonable excuse. If you are a landscaper and you are in the act of mowing your lawn or cutting your grass, of course the face covering in those circumstances will be intended to protect you against the debris from the machine, protect your eyes, protect your face, and so that would be acceptable. If you are in the act of cutting grass, I don't think the police gonna come and ask you to remove your mask. If there is a question about your identity and the police need to know who you are, then they could stop and establish your identity. But I think it's reasonable for a person to cover his face, his head and face, while he's in the process of using a weed eater or any such similar machine for the purpose of landscaping. And so it is a reasonable excuse.
Right, and similarly, it would be expected that if for some reason after they finish and they decide to want to transact business at the bank, for example,
you have to take off the mask.
They take off the mask.
Yes. So you cannot go to the bank in your mask that you were cutting grass with and use the excuse at the bank that you were cutting grass. You must be cutting grass at the time if you want to use the excuse that you're a landscaper. So if you're a landscaper, you are protected, you are covered if you are doing your landscaping duties and have your face covered. But once you're finished and you're moving to another location, you should remove those face coverings. So you cannot use the landscaping excuse if you're downtown.
Right. So we really hope that this discussion really helped to distinguish the acceptable use of mask wearing in the public and the unacceptable use of mask wearing, or what the law prohibits you from wearing a mask in relation to the sections of the Small Charges Act. We have a caller, so we'll take this last call. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Yes.
Hello.
Go ahead, we're hearing
Yes,
you.
good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Deputy Commissioner Henry.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, Sergeant Maguire.
Yes.
A good program as usual, and Mr. Henry, you always make yourself available to the public.
Yes.
So that is nothing new, but I just want to use the opportunity to congratulate you publicly on your promotion.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? So, but just want to wish you all the best in your new endeavors. I know it's more responsibility, but we know you're up to the task, so I just want to use the opportunity to congratulate you again and just continue to put your best foot forward. And you are someone the junior and the junior officers look up to, so you know what I mean? I just want to wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Okay, have a good day.
Thank you. Right, so as I was saying that we do hope that you have a call? We have one. Yeah, we will try to wrap up. One more call, one. Okay, the moderator asked for leniency, so we'll take this last and final call.
Yes, okay. Hello?
Yes, good morning.
Yes, I have a suggestion for the police.
Yes.
We have 4th Street as the most busiest street in Bastille. And likewise, other busy streets where we have a lot of business places. I think we should have cameras at the head of each street and also at the bottom. So if somebody commit a crime down the bottom, let's say down by the old Treasury, and they decide to run go up 4th Street, the camera and the Treasury can only see the back of them, while the one at the top of 4th Street would be able to pick up their face or the front structure. So what do you all think about that?
Yes, of course. Of course, that is a very good idea. In fact, that is our camera network is set out. We have it strategically placed, so we capture persons going and coming.
For distance.
What happened by the restaurant on Cairn Street up to the top of Spratt Street? With the person went in that restaurant there and shoot and kill in there. And whichsoever direction they ran, there should have been enough cameras to pick up the certain photos of the person.
Right. Well, so we take that. That is our only limitation. The number of cameras that we have. But those that we have available, they're placed in such a way that we get the best vantage points in likely places where people would be. Okay. But yes, we accept that there's a need for more cameras. and we would build out our camera network as the resources becomes available to us.
Right. So, Deputy, I want you to use the final moment in your wrap up and really highlight the takeaway points in terms of the discourse this morning in relation to the distinction of the mask wearing and the prohibition in the context of the Small Charges Act.
Right. And the purpose why we thought that this topic is timely. We know that criminals, and I think persons even on TV, whenever a criminal is going to commit a crime, the first thing he tries to do is disguise his identity, because you're the prosecutor, you would know that the first thing that the prosecutor has to prove is that this was the person who committed the crime.
Yes.
And so that is the first burden that we have to discharge. This is the person who committed the crime. Establish identity. And so criminals know that, and so they try to disguise their identity when they're going to commit crime. And so the law is intended to restrict or prohibit persons from wearing masks, so that if you see a person wearing a mask, that should draw some attention. It should be unusual, and you should report it or do something that you could get a better idea of what he's up to. And so you are basically our eyes. We want you to be so aware that whenever you see someone fitting this type of description of being disguised, that you become alarmed, and you well, not alarmed to the extent that you do something foolish, but you become concerned. Maybe that's a better word.
Yeah.
You become concerned, and you observe, you report, you do something. We always say, if you see something, say something. And so we want you to be our eyes and ears, and whenever you see persons disguising themselves in this manner, you become suspicious, just as the police would become suspicious if they see them, and you report it. Let the police know that this is what you see, person put on a mask and he's heading in this direction, because you might be just have prevented a crime by just reporting what you see and who the person that you see did it. So we want to raise that awareness among the public, and for persons who have those intentions to really to change their minds, knowing that if you're even caught with the mask in your bag or in your pocket, you have to give an explanation, and if you cannot give a good explanation why you have such a mask, you commit an offense. And so the whole intention of this program is to sensitize the public, let you know that it is not okay for a person to walk in the street disguised with a mask, and to report such activity when you see it.
Right, because people might still assume that we operate under the COVID restrictions, and so that they
might take it okay.
Right, criminal elements might take advantage of the opportunity.
Exactly.
Because the face mask, the health mask is allowed, and they might seem so because they want to fit in.
Right.
And so we hope today that we were able to inform you enough so that you can not only distinguish the difference from what is allowed or what is acceptable, but also you in the interest of your own health from preventing the spread of some kind of communicable illness and so on. You can help to protect others as well as you protect yourself by wearing your mask. That is at your discretion. But in relation to the enforcement of the Small Charges Act, that the Section 8 subsection 6 is still enforced, and that is that the masking of one's face is back in enforcement, in that it is not acceptable and it is not allowed. We want to take this opportunity to thank our listeners. We are going to make way for the Prime Minister's press conference, and so we want to I too want to say thanks for the opportunity for hosting this aspect of policing with you. Until next week, when we come again with another session or topic of discussion in policing with you. Goodbye and enjoy the rest of your day.
Take a break with a cash loan of $3,000 or more from Courts Ready Cash, and you could win the weekend getaway of your dreams. Plus, visit us in store for exciting instant prizes. Pay nothing down and get 30 days to make your first installment. Visit us today with your ID, proof of address, payslip, references, and a job letter, and enjoy hassle-free service, flexible payment terms, and fast approval. Now is the time to do what you love with a loan from Courts Ready Cash. We are ready when you are. Visit us online at readyfinancecaribbean.com or call 466-1640 for more details. Conditions apply.
The future is unknown. Protect your life, your family, and your valuables from unforeseen circumstances. Let National Caribbean Insurance give you the peace of mind that you so deserve. At NCI, we offer a suite of affordable insurance plans that can be tailored to ease your financial burden. We aim to deliver exceptional products to satisfy all your insurance needs. Whether life, health, motor, or property insurance,